it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a very seasonal video that is in collaboration with Samantha from Books with Samantha. Definitely check out her video. We are chatting about monster romances, and now she's actually doing her trope week again, where I believe they are all spooky themed. So she has a video a day coming out this week, and I'm pretty sure she's collabing with someone every day. Don't quote me on that, but check out her channel, check out all of her recs. They're amazing. I love her so much. We have the Historical Hellions book club together, so we chat every month about old school historical romances, but I'm very excited to chat about these monster romances. Now, this is kind of out of my wheelhouse. I don't read too many monster romances. I have 6 to recommend and 2 on my TBR, so I have 8 books total, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the books. The first one I have is Dragon's Bride by Katie Robert. I gave this 4.5 stars. I really love this one. It's definitely short, and there is some primal play in here. I definitely remember that. He is a dragon, and she is in an abusive relationship, and she really wants to get out of that relationship, so she makes a deal with the dragon that she will give herself to him for 7 years if he takes her away from her husband, and he does that, and they end up being in a relationship. He really wants kids, though. I remember that being a huge deal in the book and wanting her to have his children, but she's like, no, I'm only gonna be here for 7 years. Like, I'm not staying. He ended up being really sweet, though, and I really enjoy this romance. Definitely spicy, fun times, and it was short, but I ended up liking it, and that's really all I can say without spoiling anything else. Then, okay, so I thought I didn't own any of these, but I definitely do own this one, and I do own the next one, but that's okay. We have The Lady of Rooks Manor by Katherine Moon. I love this one, and now when I was making this video, I was like, what's the difference between a monster romance and just like a straight up paranormal romance? But this one had a bunch of different monsters, and like the whole theme of this series is that like the women are in a white cheese romance, and they're all with different creatures. So I would technically call this a monster romance because we have a vampire, we have a ghost, we have, I think it's a gargoyle, he's like made of stone, and well, not a ghost, it's like an invisible man, and different beings that she's in a relationship with, and I loved this one. Book 2 I found very boring, but this one was so good. She goes to this house that's more like a pleasure house, and she ends up falling in love with some of the men there, including one of the guys who works there, and I think the invisible man was one of my favorites, so I really liked his relationship with her. She had such different relationships with them, and they all had such different personalities, and then there was a little bit of suspense thrown in at the end too, and it's just very atmospheric and perfect to read in the fall season. If you do like white cheese romances, definitely read this one. I loved it. Okay, another one that was actually really surprising is Morning Glory Milking Farm. I thought that romance was so sweet, so I was a little concerned. I did read it when it was floating around and people were obsessed, and it was like the glove cover that was on it. I believe she has a really pretty cover for it now. But the heroine needs money and needs a job, and so she gets a job milking minotaurs, I think, and so she does that. And she falls in love with one of them, and it's really sweet, and I really liked it. And she ends up like getting really excited when he comes into her work, and obviously they're trying to like keep it professional because he's in there to like get serviced, I guess, and she has to collect stuff, and I just thought it was fun. It sounds bizarre, but the romance actually worked for me, so if you're nervous, I still recommend picking it up. One that's very hyped that did not work for me, but I am going to include it in this video in case it sounds good to you, because it was just too sweet for me. I need a little bit more angst in my romances, but Muscles and Monsters by Ashley Bennett I read just this past week, and it's super short. It's like a 4-hour audiobook, and he is a wolf and doesn't shift at all. He's just a wolf, and he's like an athletic trainer, and she is a human, and she is curvy, and she's a baker, and they meet, and they obviously are into each other, but she ends up tracking him down and joins his gym, and they fall in love, and it's just really sweet and fun. That's really all it was. There wasn't a whole lot of angst. I mean, they're trying to figure out how like a human could be in love with him. He's worried about his I forget what it's called, but like the mating or something, and he's dealing with a bad ex, and that's just where the story went. So it was fun. I didn't love it, but if you're looking for just something light and fun and quick to get through, you can pick this one up. So then another one that I read is, oh, this has a new cover too. I actually like this cover better than the other one. So this is Treasure of the Abyss by Tiffany Roberts. He is a kraken, and the beginning's a little slow. So the heroine, I think she's like a researcher. She gets caught in a storm and ends up being stranded and saved by this kraken, and he takes her back to like where he lives, and they just like hang out, and I'm like, something happened. Humans hate Krakens though, so they don't know how their relationship is going to work, and I really like the second half where it's more in the dynamic of how the heck are we gonna make this happen? Are we gonna end up being together? I actually like really loved them as a couple and was rooting for them and wanted them to be together. I did say in my review, I read this back in April of last year, but I did say the monster dynamic took a little bit of getting used to in the steamy scenes. But once there was more world building too, I ended up really liking this. So it was a fun time. I did a monster romance reading vlog, and that's when I read this one. The other one I was not a fan of, but this one was fun. And if you want a Kraken romance, try this one. So the last one I have is Her Soul to Take by Harley Laroo. This one is a demon romance. She's a ghost hunter, and I read this 2 years ago, so it's a little fuzzy, but I remember she's a ghost hunter, and he ends up being really in love with her, but he's supposed to like take her as a sacrifice for something, but ends up falling in love with her. So I was hooked in the story. That's what I said in my review. I could not put it down, especially when there were like crazy things happening, and he was trying to protect her from the things that, especially like that he's a part of, and I was dying for a book too that I never read. But he is a demon, and it was really fun, and again, a very spooky setting, so definitely recommend checking this one out. The next one that I want to try, so the last two are ones that I'm really interested in, let me know if you've read them, is Ensnared by Tiffany Roberts. This one is a spider romance. Now listen, I really like the cover, and I'm intrigued. It has a 3.99 average rating, which is not bad for a spider romance. So this says that he's a hunter, and he's the one ensnared in a creature's trap. So it says he doesn't want to mate, but the queen he despises declares her intention to claim him. So he retreats into the jungle, and he finds her, and he knows she's his mate. So I guess it's a fated mates book too. So this one sounds good. I'm really excited. I want to read it. And the last one I have, I thought was a werewolf romance, but I'm pretty sure it's just straight up wolves. And that is Thieves and Monsters by Cleo. I actually really want to read this entire series. I got book 2 in the Stuff Your Kindle day, and book 3 is a Medusa sapphic romance. So this whole series sounds really, really good. So I definitely want to try it out. But this one is a Mafia Why Choose wolf romance. So I'm pretty sure they're not werewolves. They just stay wolves the whole time. So they are part of the mafia, and she's hired to steal a painting, and she's ensnared, and there's 7 days of sin in exchange for freedom from the Three Fates mafia. I don't know. But I've had some friends read this series and really like it recently, so I definitely want to give it a try, and it's definitely short. I am all for the shorter monster romances on my TBR. So very excited to read Cleo Evans, starting with book 1. And those are my monster romance recommendations. Definitely let me know if you have more. I am very new dipping my toes into the genre. I don't read a lot of monster romances, but I'm definitely in the mood now that this is spooky season. So if there's any I have to read, let me know. And also check out Samantha's video. I'm excited to see what recommendations she has, but that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.